Alt 92.3.
Let's talk about your humble beginnings, the Pickle Patch.
Yeah, that's, I mean, different era of time, different era of Steve Aoki for sure. Pickle Patch, for people that don't know what that is, I'm glad you brought that up, was my apartment. It was my living room in my apartment.
Is it on the ground floor even?
It was on the ground floor.
Okay.
And it's maybe 300, 400 square feet. Like, it's really small. And we were obsessed punk hardcore kids living there when we were in college. So we ended up doing something like 20 shows a month.
That's where it started, yeah.
Yeah, bands coming through and playing in our living room. And that's where Dim Mak started, because I was just around so many incredible young bands.
Right. Well, I was going to say name names, because I was talking to my buddy Cody from Blood Brothers today.
Yeah.
He
Cody's
says
my
what's
good
up.
friend. Yeah.
So I remember I saw a flyer for or in the movie, like at the drive-in play.
Yeah, at the drive-in play, which was crazy for us. They had no idea it was a living room, because they it had this like lure, like the Pickle Patch. I mean, all these bands were playing at the Pickle Patch. And I remember when Blaze James hit me up, and he's the manager of At the Drive, and he's like, "Yo, like the boys want to play at the Pickle Patch." I'm like, "Come on down, like whatever we make at the door is yours, And they're like punk rooted band, even though they became like full on rock stars. But so we had them, Jimmy World a couple times in different variations of what the Pickle Patch was, because I was putting on shows all over Isla Vista and Santa Barbara.
Sure.
But and then I was in bands.
What were your bands? What were they named? What are the names of these bands?
So my main band that I used to sing in is called This Machine Kills, from Woody Guthrie guitar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tom Morello, I think, has it on his guitar.
Yeah. And then I was a guitarist in a band called Esperanza. And I mean, like, I formed a bunch of bands. I had a band called Fuck You.
Catchy. That one's gonna be big.
Yeah, I mean, we would start bands, like bands would come in, like my friends would come in from like far from, like that band. The guitarist was from Germany. He was in town. I'm like, yo, let's just create a band.
Write some music.
We literally wrote 5 songs. We recorded them. I recorded them in my Tascam 4-track recorder. I used to record all the shows, and I learned how to record.
This is on cassette tape, by the way. That's what a Tascam is, if you don't know.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And we made the demo, okay? We rehearsed, and we played our first show and last show all in the same day.
Wait, this was Fuck You, or this was a different?
Fuck You.
I love that.
Yeah, I sang. That was the easiest job.
You ever going to bring back the band? You going to start a new band? We got to start a band. We should start a band right now. What's our band called? Please don't start a band with me is the name of the band. Okay.
I was thinking. But yeah, I come from that world. I come from the DIY, like, I come from like being in bands, but I think what was more spirited that's transcended the genre for me, or like transcended the different eras of Steve Aoki, was that I come from that DIY philosophy that's actually laid groundwork to everything I've done in my businesses, to, running my label Dim Mak, which is very much an electronic-based label now.
Yeah, but people forget that you sent The Kills and Block Party and stuff.
Kills, Block Party. We put out Battle's first record. We put out some hardcore bands. We put out emo and indie bands. A lot of British bands, Klaxons, The Gossip.
Klaxons. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you're a Sub Pop guy, so we both listen to the same thing. I mean, I love that label, and I'm a label junkie, so I follow labels, and that's why I wanted to start a label.
Neon Future. We're on number 4. So do we just not like naming albums other things? You dipped in, you did Colony, and then you were sort of like, nope, we're back to Neon Future. That seems like a very specific concept for you.
It's just it's a ongoing concept that I am obsessed with outside of music. It's just I think it's an overall life goal and pathway. Like I believe that I believe in a utopia where there's a convergence of tech and humanity, where we will merge with technology in a way that we can do things like live forever, do things that are science fiction based that we would never think would come true.
I mean, I think you're seeing that already, where it's like even in creative spaces with like AIs, like that Travis Scott song. Did you see that? Where like an AI generated Travis Scott lyrics, and then they recorded a version, and it sounds like, I mean, it's somewhat gibberish,
right?
But it's really interesting, the concept that like, okay, you can like plug in all these different artists, let's say, from machine learning, and then create a new sound based on like, I'm gonna, let's do like 1/3 Steve, 1/3 Travis, 1/3 like Refused.
And
then like whatever the machine generates.
That sounds pretty cool.
you got to get it on the
put
AI train.
all those together.
Well, you did that Refused remix.
I did.
I remember.
That. Yeah, I just saw them actually. They played in DC right before my show. I went to go see them play. It's great to see Dennis rocking the stage, and I love that band. I love that band. I mean, The Shape of Punk to Come is definitely one of the top 10 albums of my life for sure.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah. As we talked about, just earlier, the way the playlist culture is, it's just allowing for people that love hip hop, love punk rock, that love EDM, that love the same fans that love Avicii will love My Cam, they'll love Travis Barker and Global Dan, or
That's where I was going to go next with that. Is like, so now like people think of you at this point as like an electronic guy, but you've made like a pretty straightforward like rock tune, like almost like, I don't know if you call it emo. It's like pop punk.
Yeah.
It's in that vein. Talk to me about that. Like, did you and Travis sit together? Are you like on the guitar? He's on the drums. How did it happen?
Well, so that one is I worked on that song before Travis. I was working out with Global Dan, and he came up with a lot of it. Actually, he's a great writer. He's an incredible writer. I mean, ever since that song, I signed him to Dimmock, and then we got in the studio, and I'm actually producing his whole project. So
I was going to ask that too. So, okay, and is it more kind of leaning in that realm?
Yeah, it's like kind of in between pop punk and hip hop, just like that song is all about. But there are songs that are hip hop on the project.
It's got big emo night LA energy to me.
Yeah. I mean, we made a lot of our songs together in my studio, but that song, it started from Dan. And then I'm like, I want to work on this record. I want to add and produce this record with you. So then he sent it to me, and then I'm like, we need to get Travis on the song. We got to add that element. I know Travis is gonna love this, And Travis heard, he's like, he loved it, and he added his.
You guys seem like you have a similar energy. Like he's everywhere, you're everywhere. You guys are always working with all kinds of people.
Travis and I have a great bond. We've been working together, and I mean, it's crazy to say, over 10 years. Like, before 2010. Like, I remember when the Refused remix, going back to that, came out, and he was like, yo, this is a banger. What is this? Let's make music like this. And then that turned into Misfits, that was on his Let the Drummer Have Some album. I produced that song. I recorded guitars on that song. I sampled those guitars. I sang on the song. We shot a sick video to that for, in like this abandoned house in LA. But we have a long musical relationship. Like I always go to him when I think about, like a song like this. He's the first person I want to work with, and he's always like coming to me with ideas as well. And obviously, like you said, he works with all kinds of artists, from obviously rock, which that's his thing, to hip hop, which he's crushing it with,
right,
to like the hybrid of those worlds and beyond. So and he's a producer, and he's in the ear. He's got it in his ear. He's like knows what he likes. He's in the studio. He's a studio rat. He's really inspiring, Travis. He really is. I can go on and on about Travis.
We're psyched about the song. I'm psyched to hear the album now. I didn't know that you were doing, because I was going to ask if you would ever produce, or if you even start. I think like I touched on this in the beginning. Would you ever go back to being just like a dude in a band? Would you ever just like? Seems like you do it all the time, and that's like the one thing you shy away from.
I talked to a few friends, and they were like, "Yo, we can do a band." Like I was talking to Dennis. Like, yo, maybe we do a band together or something. Like, we like shoot it around. Which would be cool, but like at the end of the day, it's like a lot of time.
Yeah,
it's a lot of time. I just don't have, 24 hours a day. Yeah. Everyone's got the same clock. You know what I mean? Like, I do what 250 shows a year, and then like the rest of the time I'm in the studio, and I have like my personal life too, and I got like family. And like I have businesses that I'm like also running and co-running.
Pizza Aoki?
Yes, and they require my time as well. So it's like being in a band, which is there's no bandwidth for that. But I'm like, I like to like get into the space enough where it makes sense. Even producing for one artist at the capacity I did with Global Dan was overextensive for me. I just don't do that. I haven't produced one artist's full project, signed and produced a full project. So that was an undertaking, and I really felt like, yo, I have this feeling now, like I had the same feeling I had with Block Party, the same feeling I had with these bands that when I was younger, and I wanted everyone to hear about. And now I have this artist that I can really develop with, and make some really exciting music and put out to the world through Dimmock. And I was like, okay, I got to set away time in my schedule. And then when we started making music, I knew it was like the right decision, because the music on this project that we're doing is amazing. It's incredible. And if you loved Halfway Dead, you're going to love what's coming out later on.
Yeah, I mean, I'm psyched to hear it.
Yeah.
Our first introduction. Look out. Global Dan 2020 taking over. Awesome. Steve, thanks so much.
For sure. Thanks, man. Yeah.